We are so excited to talk about this race, but we have a very special guest holding, and we're going to go straight to him because there's been some really interesting discussions this week in Formula
Yeah, it's not
One.
just on-track stuff.
That's right. It's not just on track, but so we want to welcome to the show the chairman and CEO of Circuit of the Americas, Bobby Epstein. Bobby, welcome to Speed City.
Good morning. Thanks.
Thank you for coming on. And I know you're just fresh off an incredible weekend with NASCAR at Circuit of the Americas. So congratulations on that, first off.
Thanks, John.
And
it was good.
yeah, the crowds were incredible. It was really fun to be out there and see those crowds.
Well, it was great. It rained a lot, and what was really great was to see the parking lots did not empty at all during the race.
True.
And everybody stuck around.
Yeah, nobody left. You're absolutely right. And Bobby, when I was standing there, I was standing in the pits looking left and right. It looked like a Formula One race. The turn one grandstands were full. The main grandstands were full. The hill leading up to turn one was full. It was really pretty electric feeling out there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was great to see people back. I know Austin is starting to embrace the racing events. You know, it's not in the history of the city. Formula One's been kind of the dominant player, and it was also new to everyone. And so I think we saw a lot more local fans starting to come out and enjoy the fun of the track.
Bobby, we got to ask you, we woke up Friday morning to a bit of a surprise, and I'm sure it was for you too, that we were hearing from Baku that we were going to have a double header at Austin at the Circuit of the Americas. Can you verify or give us any, any inkling of what that might look like, given that Singapore has now been cancelled?
Well, I woke up to a lot of text messages and calls about that too. So, Jonathan, I think the word possibility was what was usually part of those sentences was it's possible we might see a doubleheader in Austin. And I think that's the key word. It's the conversations haven't even begun. So other than a question at one point, which was if COVID forces some cancellations, would the circuit be available? And we said, sure, we can look at it. And that's really been it at this point. I'm sure we'll talk more about it this week or in the coming weeks if it becomes something that they want to do. But I think it's far premature to start booking the hotel rooms.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's also hard to follow a typical, what will be a 2-year celebration, Billy Joel, everything else, the week after or the week before. So I don't know how that would look, but it's great to hear that you're open to the possibility.
Yeah, sure. I think everybody who had a permanent circuit last year got asked that question at some point. Or I know they did. And it's typical this year also. If you've got a permanent track, you've got some flexibility, and you want to do all you can to help the sport, and you want to help them get the number of races they need to complete both the FIA requirements, but also their TV contracts. I mean, there's a lot to fulfill in trying to put on an F1 season, and the logistics are very hard. And so anytime you can make your track available and be part of a 2-race week, it's certainly something to consider.
Yeah, I think.
Bobby,
Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead. Well, my question is, knowing a little bit about all that goes into putting on the race that you have on the schedule with all the volunteers and the concessions and all the things that go into putting on a Formula One Grand Prix, are you saying it's possible that kind of effort could be extended to put on another race, or would you need to go toward the NASCAR model where you basically rent the racetrack to the sanctioning body and let them handle all those details?
Well, Bob, it's early to try and figure that out, except to say we wouldn't want to do anything that compromises the incredible event that the United States Grand Prix is, and right. the planning for which starts, way more than a year in advance. So I think if we did have another weekend, I don't see it being quite the same sort of show and have the same schedule. And I don't know about support races. I mean, it's really early to talk about that, but certainly it's tough. I can't see it being the U.S. Grand Prix type event.
Well, Bob, there's been discussions about the possibility of Indy hosting the same race as well. I have no idea about, what their logistics and all that would be. But now that we've got Miami, I mean, having the excitement of Miami and COTA and Indy and all that. But I mean, I have no idea if that is a good thing or a bad thing for you. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it'd be fine. I know the teams have expressed concern about Indianapolis being hard to do in October. Their first frost, I think, is on average October 10th or 11th. We could probably Google that. But I think that's one of the concerns that they'd have about going to Indy in October. But, I think Miami's going to be super complimentary to what we're doing. And I think Indianapolis could be the same. It just has to find the right spot on the calendar. So I know that's one of the factors that has to be weighed. And then when you try and do back-to-back weeks, as we know, the strain on the teams and the employees that move around with this, it's asking a lot. And I think we have Mexico right after us.
Yeah, and thinking about October, it's such a wonderful time in Austin. And, of course, I'm sure that one of the first things that popped in everybody's head is that we've got the vaccination rolled out so well here that is no longer...
Including at COTA.
Yeah, including the vaccinations you did out there. but the fact that we've already got 60-something%, and by that in October, we could be 70, 80% vaccinated, so that becomes a zero issue. I'm sure that's been a big part of the discussion, too.
Well, I hope the rest of the world makes the same progress that we've made, and we saw how fast we went from just between February and May. I think that things can get better really fast when the vaccines start to roll out, and I think the U.S. being almost back to normal in terms of crowds or the ability to host events is a good thing, and I think hopefully that continues elsewhere.
Bobby, just to clarify for our national audience, because we've had you on locally and we saw you at NASCAR, but, there was always this rumor of, Miami and Indy and other events. The purpose of Liberty going down this road is to increase the popularity of Formula One in America. So this can only complement what you are doing at the Circuit of the Americas. Is that how you see this?
Absolutely. The more races we have in our time zone and the opportunity for F1 fans in the U.S., I mean, we're up this morning early to watch a race, but it is easier to follow when it's the middle of the afternoon. And the more races we get on in what I'll call prime time sports afternoons, the better it is for all of us.
Yeah.
What did you think of the race, Bobby, in Baku?
Well, we're excited that first I'm happy for Sebastian because it's fun to see him, and I think for us from marketing and popularity standpoint to have Perez, to see Sergio up there, that's a great thing. And as you said, we're happy for Gasly, but I felt it's going to do a lot of good for the excitement and for people following it. And yeah, the mechanical and tire issues that happened are an absolute shame. You hate to see races determined like that. I think it's one of the things people like about things like COTA, where the on-track racing hopefully determines the outcome of the race. You have the opportunity for so many opportunities for passing, but a race in Baku like that is part of what makes F1 special, seeing the races through the city streets and historic areas like that with that backdrop. So I think it was a great event. I think it was a great day.
Bobby, while we've got you, shameless plug, tickets are on sale for the U.S. Grand Prix, am I right?
They are, but we're trying to put more on sales. Ticket sales were great, sold out, and
wow.
And it's one of the things that makes us excited for Miami. I think they're going to sell out also, and the U.S. is going to keep growing. The sports popularity is going to keep growing in the U.S.
Bobby, we had the mayor of Miami Gardens on in the pre-show, and if you don't mind, I'll send him your number. He has lots of questions about how to get it.
Well, we've invited him over for the Grand Prix,
yeah.
So, and with the precursor of barbecue, so he's coming.
Yeah, I watched part of that. Or maybe a teaser for it.
Yeah. Well, Bobby Epstein, thank you so much for coming on, and we are very excited about this rumor. So let's see how it plays out, and we'll stay in touch with you, and hopefully this will come true because it would be a dream for us.
Yeah, we'll know a lot more in the coming weeks. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.